Sound the alarm. Prepare to recover all the enemy has stolen. The tables are not going to be turned. They are about to be flipped. They are about to be flipped.
How'd they build the system? How'd they build Babylon? How'd they build it? With money. So what's the one thing God's got to take down?
The money system. Yeah.
He's got to take down the money.
And take it back to gold and silver, God's money.
Flipping the stairs, you're flipping the scales. That's the flipping of the scales. That's why Christ walked in the temple and flipped the scales. And what do? He whipped the money changers. Right, we're going to see a war here shortly. God's backing them into a corner, and now they're running out of options. And so as we head into the end of this month, and then we start October, they're going to be wedged into this corner, and the only thing they can do, is what? Come out with everything they got, because why? This is a battle to the end, to the death. This will be the worst nightmare that they could ever have imagined.
So let me ask you this, Bo. Do you think, like, starting from September through October, that's the craziest time? Or do you think November, December, January, February, that's going to be, like, even into March, April is going to be the craziest?
What we're looking at is the birth of God's kingdom. When you look at the Revelation 12 sign, Virgo gives birth. 7 years would take us to September 23rd, 2024. Okay, this is one calculation. There's a second calculation, same thing, September 23rd, 2017, but now this is using the Daniel cycle of time. It's a little different, and it takes us to specifically calculation, the completion of the Daniel calculation from the Bible ends on Halloween. Biblical calculations are saying that something is about to go down. What I see happening is an event that triggers all of this, and number 7 is extremely important with regards to prophecy and timing. So what we're watching is incredible perfection in God's math calculations. You got to understand, God does everything on his timelines, not ours. October is an incredibly important time point. In the month of October, there is a date called Elul 29. Elul 29 relates to wars, 9/11, market crashes, all crazy stuff triggered on Elul 29.
So many events that have occurred on Elul 29. We had stock market crashes, multiple on Elul 29. 9/11, Elul 29.
I'm going to bring this last part, I'm going to call it the Elul factor.
Okay.
It says in the Bible, in Deuteronomy, it says at the end of every 7 years, you'll have a release of debt. So you will have a remission. The financial realm gets affected. There's a wiping out, a wiping clean. When does it happen? The end of the 7th year is the month of Elul. That's the last month on the civil calendar. Elul, leading up to Elul 29. Now, we already saw in some of the last Shemitahs, it was so precise that actually on the day you have the greatest crashes, period. But the overall pattern, but the overall thing, you have Elul, the month of nullification. But when you get to the end of the Shemitah, this Elul period, you often have some, didn't have to happen, but you have some dramatic things happening in world history. Attack of 9/11 happens the last week of Elul. This is the time of nullification. World War II comes to its conclusion last week of Elul of the Shemitah, of the 7-year Shemitah, just like 9/11. The Shemitah of 2001 sees the greatest collapse in history the last week of the Shemitah Elul. So the 2008. The pattern is that it tends to, if you're looking for dramatic tends to happen at the end of the Shemitah, at this period, this Elul. Worst intraday crash in Wall Street history, Elul. Global markets all collapse on Elul. Everything went crazy. Hundreds of billions wiped out in the month of Elul. Elul 29, the day of nullification. We're going to put it on that graph and to see how close the 70% of the greatest crashes happened to the day that got appointed. Put up the graph.
Wow.
Every single one of them happens within 99% to 100% proximity to the day God appointed to wipe out the financial realm.
Oh boy.
Couple of bullet points. What were his words? The day of nullification occurs to 99% past market crashes. So we've referenced October 24th. That's the last day of Tabernacles. The first potential time point of a market event could trigger on Elul 29, which is what? October 2nd of this year. Okay? And then this is important. What do we heard the rabbis speak. We talked about the 7-year cycle. I've been speaking about the 7-year cycle. This is in scriptures. So the 7-year cycle, what did he say specifically at the end of how many years? And at the end, Rabbi Khan just said, at the end of 7 years, this happens.
And we are there now. We're there now this year.
Yes. So the potential of it happening next year is slim to zero. Okay.
It has to happen this year.
Because it's the 7th year and the 50th year. So this is a super Shemitah.
That's right. And that's when all debts are erased. So
Exactly.
that's why they want to take us to the Great Reset.
They're trying to bring in the Great Reset, and what God's plan is the Great Awakening. See how cool this is?
Yeah.
So they're trying to bring in the reset, and God's going to bring in the awakening, and it's like, boom. Nuclear event. Boom. Nuclear event.
The deep state cabal will not know what hit them. The deep state cabal will not know what hit them.
At a time when wickedness is great in the world, so too will be the response from heaven.
No. What did he say?
I have men at my back. You stand alone and defy me. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
The days of Elijah are here.
It begins.
Remember, Noah, he chose you for a reason.
The long-awaited 50-year Jubilee.
So that's the end of everything.
Beginning. Beginning of everything.
Birth of a new era.
Let's get to the message from God. It's called The Enemy is Running Out of Ideas. And this was given to me September 16, 2024. Today marks the new dawn of a new era in time. Your celebration this year is soon to begin.
Repeat after me. The land will rumble. And evil will crumble. It's going to get dark. They're going to attack one more time. Your phones are going to go out. The internet is going to go out. The TV is going to go out. There's going to be nothing but silence. Nothing but silence. Just like Lazarus. John 11 was dead in the tomb for 4 days. Why 4 days? Why 4 days? So that what? But then we could see the glory of God. All glory goes to God.
And the three of us have been talking specifically for the past few months about a gold spike, a silver spike that's about to manifest on the earth. And I heard very clearly, you're never going to see silver, particularly silver, explode in price. Ever, 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 until God's kingdom is birthed. So it's fun to be here because you can't stop what's coming. That's the cool part of this, because you can't stop prophecy. The prophecy is true. No man can stop what's about to happen, okay? That's scriptural. And so all you can do is prepare. And so that's why it's so important to understand, if you got finances in the bank, you got digits in the bank, you don't have money. The digits you have in a bank are a total fraud created by Satan. You think you have wealth, but you don't. You just have digits. And when God flips the financial scales, I'm telling you, you're going to hope that you called Andrew months ago, because you don't want to be 1 day late. You're better off to be 2 years early.
Yep.
Because God only needs 1 day. If you don't own God's money, when he flips the financial scales, his money rises to the surface and the other financial system collapses. And I appreciate Andrew, because Andrew is like, the reasonable one in this conversation. And I'm joking, because when you're from a biblical perspective, the things that I'm talking about are crazy. You know what I'm saying? Bo's crazy and Andrew's reasonable. And I appreciate that. That's why this is a fun podcast, right? Because from a perspective, silver breaking above $32, silver breaking above $32. And that's why I've said in a single day, we're going to see silver go from where it is now to $68 to $70 in a single day. In a single day, gold's going to go from where it is to over $4,000 in a single day. Again, that's crazy, Bo, and I agree with you. But when God intervenes, it's the farthest thing from crazy. It's expected.
God is moving. Tabernacles ends this Friday. Something, I believe, is coming very, very soon. It's
this week.
This broadcast. Yeah, potentially into this Friday. Not into on this Friday, potentially, or into the Friday, into the Saturday. So we run a 50-year cycle relative to war and conflict. The Yom Kippur War, also called the October War, was initiated by Egypt and Saudi Arabia on what day? October 6th, 1973, on the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. Let's do a 50-year Leviticus cycle. Oh! Coincidentally, this Friday, the last day of Tabernacles, October 6th.
This was not what you thought you would wake up to on a Saturday morning. Talk to us about the larger historical context. We heard there from Wrath is the 50th anniversary of that other awful surprise attack back in 1973.
Signs, miracles, and wonders. So that starts the great harvest, okay? And so we are supposed to witness the great harvest, the start of the great harvest.
So this is going to be called the great harvest. You're saying it's supposed to happen after the Chiefs win a Super Bowl. They won in 2020, they won in 23.
And this would be
notice anything?
The Trinity. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So it'd be the Trinity. It'd be the triplicate. What we're waiting for, Nino, is a moment in time where God intervenes upon the world. It's supposed to happen after the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, okay?
When the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, there'll be the greatest revival. But they've already won twice. You're going to say this third's a charm.
There's a charm. Because we got the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
I don't know, Bo.
I don't know. Neither do I. Neither do I.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
Again, that's crazy, Bo, and I agree with you. But when God intervenes, it's the farthest thing from crazy. It's expected. It's expected.